I'm no fan of the BBC. Their persistent left-leaning bias on many news stories is mind-boggling, eye-watering to say the least. And the way in which they gain the information needed to produce their stories is very mind-boggling and eye-watering to say the least. And more now, we're seeing evidence come to the forefront of unscrupulous activities with certain investigations which they carried out many years ago. And there's a hell of a clanger of a story in the news today relating to that Panorama interview with Princess Diana all those years ago. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. How do everybody? Welcome back to the channel for a Thursday night. I hope you're doing all right. I'm not too bad myself, not too bad. Still in the garage, as you can see, and hopefully we'll be back in the car soon, weather providing and the temperature goes down. I'm simply in here because the phone overheated and I obviously couldn't function to the full extent that I usually do, so no good whatsoever. Anyway, let's get into this little story, shall we? We all know the BBC. We all have our own opinions of the BBC. Me personally, and let's get this out there straight away, I think the BBC is not fit for purpose. I don't think it's been fit for purpose for a long time. It's churning out an awful lot of programme material which I deem absolute crap. The first one that I come to mention is EastEnders. All right, it's a soap, and stereotypically us blokes can't stand soaps, but I think it's probably 30 years past its sell-by date, and a terrific amount of money that's been spent on that new set of theirs with a new Queen Vic and all the rest of it. And then you go on to more serious things, such as documentaries. I mean, I'll mention him, Tommy. You remember that time that the Panorama people tried to stitch him up and he turned the tables on them quite masterfully. There is a documentary out there on that, and that's worth a watch if you can find it out there. And of course there are other things as well, namely what we're going to talk about today is that Panorama interview with Mr. Bashir and Princess Diana. Now, it's well documented and out in the public domain that there are serious questions to answer about that interview, in the way that she was coaxed onto the programme, in the way that information was passed on to her to aid in her decision to be interviewed. And some may argue that it started a chain of events to lead up to that dramatic and deadly event that happened to her in that tunnel in France all those years ago. I mean, about 25 years now, isn't it? Incredible. Well, I read today that yet more compensation is being paid out, this time to a nanny connected with Harry and William when they were kids. Now, yet again, this is the BBC taxpayers' money being used. We pay our TV licence every year, and how's it being used? To improve the programming or to pay compensation when they completely fuck it up? This is the thing, we just don't know anymore. Anyway, here we go. Yes, just for context, just to give you a little reminder, there she is, bless her, Lady Di, in that interview. And yes, we have BBC to pay William and Harry's nanny substantial damages over the Panorama interview with Diana all those years ago. They've released a statement over the highly controversial interview, and they vowed that they're never going to broadcast it again. I'm glad of that. It's I don't think we need to see her be put through that any longer. And they've also revealed that substantial damages are going to be paid. In May last year, an official inquiry called the Dyson Report concluded that the late Princess of Wales interview with Martin Bashir in '95 was secured by the journalist by deceitful behaviour. Again, that's not me saying it, that's public domain stuff. It is out there, and that was in serious breach of the broadcaster's producer guidelines. Where is he? That's another question I have. In a new update, Tim Davie, the Director General of the BBC, has explained that the company has been working with those who suffered as a result of the deceitful tactics used by the BBC in pursuit of an interview with Diana and the Panorama programme in '95, including the matters that were mentioned in the court in respect of Miss Tiggy Leg Bork, now Mrs. Alexandra Pettifer, with the now Miss Pettifer having been a royal nanny to Princes William and Harry when they were kids. The BBC has agreed to pay substantial damages to her, and I would like to take this opportunity to apologise publicly to her, the Prince of Wales and the Dukes of Cambridge and Sussex, for the way in which Princess Diana was deceived and the subsequent impact on their lives, he said. In a matter of great regret that the BBC did not get to the facts in the immediate aftermath of the programme, when they were warning signs that the interview might have been obtained improperly. Instead, as the Duke of Cambridge himself put it, the BBC failed to ask the tough questions. Had we done our job properly, Princess Diana would know the truth during her lifetime. We let her, the royal family, and our audiences down. Mr. Davies said, now that we know about the shocking way that the interview was obtained, he has made a decision that the BBC will never show the programme again, nor will we license it in whole or in part for other broadcasters to show. It does, of course, remain part of the historical record, and there may be occasions in the future where it will be justified for the BBC to use short extracts for journalistic purposes. But there will be a few and far between, and will need to be agreed at executive committee level and set in the full context of what we now know about the way the interview was obtained. I would urge others to exercise similar restraint, he concluded. The tell-all interview with Princess Diana saw the royal, who died in '97, open up about her marriage to Prince Charles, famously saying, well, there was 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded. When the Dyson report was released, Lord Hall, who was director of the BBC News and Current Affairs when the interview aired, said in a statement, I have read Lord Dyson's report and I accept that our investigation 25 years ago into how Panorama secured the interview with Diana fell well short of what was required. In hindsight, there were further steps we could and should have taken following complaints about Bashir's conduct. He has since apologised for faking bank statements and said it was a stupid thing to do. The journalist said at the time of the report's publication, I reiterate that the bank statements had no bearing whatsoever on the personal choice by Diana to take part in the interview. I beg to differ, sir. Following the report findings, both William and Harry released statements, with the Duke of Cambridge saying, it's my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said. The interview was a major contribution to making my parents' relationship worse, and since her, countless others. He continued, it brings indescribable sadness to know that the BBC's failure contributed significantly to her fear, her paranoia and isolation that I remember from those final years with her. The Duke of Sussex said, to those who have taken some form of accountability, thank you for owning it. That is the first step towards justice and truth. Yet what deeply concerns me is the practices like these, and even worse, are still widespread today. Then and now is bigger than any outlet or one publication. Our mother lost her life because of this, and nothing has changed. By protecting her legacy, we protect everyone and uphold the dignity with which she lived her life. Let's remember that. And the police said in a statement in 2021, it was determined it was not appropriate to begin a criminal investigation into allegations of unlawful activity in connection with a documentary broadcast in 1995. Following the publication of the report in May, specialist detectives assessed its content and looked carefully at the law, once again obtaining independent legal advice from Treasury Counsel as well as consulting the CPS. As a result, the MPs had not identified evidence of activity that constituted a criminal offence and will therefore be taking no further action. NFA, no fucking action, whatever you want to call it. Usual story as far as they're concerned, but was there criminal activity? I mean, forging bank statements, it's a minefield. I'm not, you know, it's an absolute minefield. But yet again, it's another example of the BBC putting their big oversized foot in it and having to pay the price all those years later. And I have to beg the question, it might be worth an FOI actually. How's that money coming? Who's paying for it? Is it coming from the licence fee? Of course it is. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But none of this is surprising me. There's stuff coming out even today. And I'm sure there will be in the future as well. Toodaloo.